Alright, this video is for a 2003 Audi A6 with a 2.7 liter twin turbo engine. Um, Not the most common engine, and also one of the hardest engines to work on in the A6 series. So I read a lot of reviews and comments online about how to do alternator change and how to do the starter change. My issue was that I had to get to the starter, which is located behind the alternator, and it's quite a pain in the ass to get to. So, me being me, everyone told me that I had to go through the front. They said you got to take the front bumper off, pull it forward, yada yada yada, this and that. So I'm like, okay. But when I did my alternator, I was able to take the alternator out from the bottom. I never had to take the front end off. I didn't have to loosen anything on the front end or anything like that. And it can be done, and I will show you what it looks like now that it's done. However, not the easiest. It probably, to the right mechanic, it probably would be easier to take the front end off if you can doop 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 doop, drop the bumper, pull it forward, yeah, get in, yada yada yada. I never did it that way before, so I didn't want to start, and so I would took the hard-headed way out and did it my way. So we get under here. The alternator can be taken out from the bottom. So if I can here. So this is the hole now at the bottom of my car. As you can see, it's quite big. Alternator came out of this hole, no problem, as well as the starter. The starter is back up in here, but that's already out. There's a new starter right there. There's the old starter, and then over there is the alternator that I took out. And I'm cleaning everything before I put it back in. So real quick, if I can show you from my memory what I had to do. This is your ground cables. This came off the back of the starter as well as the back of the alternator. This is a clip. That's a clip. That's a clip over there. All those clips go somewhere. So one goes right there, one into the back of the starter, one into the back of the alternator. So this I loosened from a piece right here. I didn't necessarily have to, but I took a lot of shit apart just so I had just enough room. Back here, if you can see, intercooler piping with a bracket on it. That has to come out. There's a rubber boot that connects to the end of that, which is, where is it? Let me go get it. I'm gonna tell you the things that have to be done to get it from the bottom, no questions asked. One of the things that has to be done from the bottom, no questions asked, is taking this off. This is the rubber boot that goes in here. It will connect to that with a clamp. I'll also give you some shortcuts. This is a size 7. This is the same size as this bracket. So you'll need a size 7. I got this for 10 bucks at AutoZone. It didn't even come in the big kit that I had. All these tools, all this, didn't have a size 7. So size 7 is definitely what you need. This one long with the little lip on the bottom so you can do it ever so slowly. I was also able to do this job too because I got small hands. I don't know. A lot of guys have bigger hands, but with my diligence and small hands, I was able to get the alternator out and get the starter out. So the starter goes back up in there. There's a bolt on the bottom of the starter, and there's a bolt on the top of the starter. So here's the thing. The bolt that's on the top of the starter, you cannot access from down here. What you're going to have to do is you're going to have to reach it from the top. So this is a trick that another guy I saw posted a video. He said this is the only way that he could do it. So basically, you're gonna have to drop. You're gonna have to get a long, something long like this, And what you're gonna do is you can access the back of the starter top bolt by dropping a extension bar down here with a socket on the end of it, a swivel, however you want to do it, however you can do it. And you're gonna go down here and it's gonna drop down. Where is it? It's gonna drop down right there. Let's see if I can turn this camera around. I don't think I can turn this around. But if you see, just gonna get my phone up in there. If you see, right back in there, the little hole where a bolt would go, that's where the back of the starter mounts in. And there's a bolt right there. And right there, right here, it drops down from up here at the top. So it can be done like that. If you have some time and patience, what you would do is put a socket on the end of it, drop it down, go back up underneath the car on the driver's side. On the passenger side wheel well, you get up in there, and then you would, if you got two people, one person would stay down there and attach the socket while you stay at the top and get it loose. So this was all to say that if you're like me and one of those people that wants to do it their way and sees an opportunity to do it a different way, it can be done. I will say that I have been working on this a lot longer than I wanted to, but for whatever reason, I just did not feel like taking the bumper off and taking the whole core support out and doing the radiator and dropping fluids. I didn't spill any fluids. I didn't have to disconnect any oil lines. I didn't have to disconnect any coolant lines. I didn't have to disconnect none of that. So it can be done, and as you can see, the front of my car is still put together. And I'm gonna work on now putting everything back together. Be careful with the alternator bolts. I did snap my alternator bolt, the top bolt, when I was taking it out. Fortunately, I was able to get it out by, my methods, but yeah, be careful with the alternator bolts, one at the top, one at the bottom. They're both torqued down, they're both pretty tight. So yeah, don't strip it and don't break it. Same thing for the alternator bolts. The one at the bottom is, where's that one? The one at the bottom, I believe, is this bolt. It's the bottom bolt for the starter. And then no, that can't be right. I'm not sure. This is the top bolt for the starter. This is what goes on the back of the starter. And you have to access it from the back of the starter, not the front. And yeah, that's the top one. After you get the top one out, and you get the bottom one out, or whatever order you want to do it in. I got the bottom one out because it was easy. I needed an extension, and a lot of patience, a lot of feel. Make sure you're seated onto these bolts, because a lot of them you ain't gonna be able to see. Taking them out, like that bottom bolt on the starter, you cannot see it to take it out. So you have to feel and make sure you're seated nice and tight, and then start cranking away. If not, you're gonna strip some shit and gonna have to do it the right way anyway by taking the whole front end off. So that was that video, and that's the way that you could do the alternator and the starter. Alternator comes out first, take the belt off, and then the starter. So like, comment, subscribe. I'm gonna be doing some other videos as I do work on this Audi. It's a 2003 A6 2.7 twin turbo. And like I said, if you got one of these cars, make your decision now if you're gonna stick with it, because if you get repairs like this, there is no working from the top, and you're gonna be left with doing all the work from underneath or the front. So yeah, like, subscribe, comment. Cheers.